Hello and welcome back to episode number 2 of Star Trek Adventures, 2nd edition, as run by myself, Guy, and with some absolutely phenomenal players who'll introduce themselves shortly. Before we get into it, why are we doing this spectacular stream? Well, because it's fun, of course, obviously, and also because we are celebrating the launch of the technical manual, which drops on the 4th of June. So if you haven't yet pre-ordered it, go ahead and pre-order it. Of course, if you're watching this after the 4th of June, well, you're in luck. You can just go buy it. And now that I've fulfilled the obligation of the 523rd rule of acquisition, we can now move on and introduce each other. So let's go ahead. Jim, who are you playing?
Hi everybody, Jim Johnson, Project Manager, Line Editor, Star Trek Adventures. I am playing Lieutenant Commander Burke Van Joxa, the Chief Engineer of the USS... I just drew what our ship's name
Norwalk.
is. Norwalk. That's it. Yes, thank you.
Lovely. Kim.
Hey everybody, I am Kim. You may know me from High Rollers D&D, and today I am playing Ensign Lanyard Tennant, and feeling very normal about things as my debut as Captain Proton today.
God, yes, I forgot you'd drawn the short straw there.
All right, lovely. And then finally we've got Steve.
Hello, I'm Steve. I'm a Modiphius person just like Jim, and I do video stuff here. Like this, which is self-fulfilling. I am playing Zeb Herman, space botanist with a sideline in producing condiments, mustards, and other hot sauces in the back of the botany lab.
Absolutely. Now, if you didn't watch last week's episode, or even if you did, and you want a little bit of a recap, that's what we're going to do for you right now. So I'm going to roll one of these D20s, and it will determine who randomly gets to give us a very brief recap of what happened last week.
I can't take the pressure.
If the recap is good, so let's just add that pressure, I'll give you a point of determination.
Ooh.
Number 8. Oh, wow. Okay. Right, number 8 is 1, 2, 3. That would be Jim. What happened last week, Jim?
So I point out that 20 does not divide by 3 there, Guy, but I'm sure that's fine.
You see, you, sir, are making the assumption that the dice means anything.
Oh, yes, it's a very good point. Okay, fair enough.
It's a good-looking dice, though.
Classic GMing, I understand.
I will do my level best, but I will rely on my team to fill in the blanks if I miss anything, because we're Starfleet. We work as a team, right? So
Team.
We're better as a unit. Anyway,
Yes.
Synopsis. We are in the 24th century lower decks era, and we were tasked with hosting a diplomatic conference between the president of the Federation, quote unquote, and the photonic beings from an episode of Voyager that I don't remember. It turns out that the president of the Federation, quote unquote, was in fact the Doctor, and he had very specific requirements as to what the look and feel of the whole holodeck experience should be. So we got that set up. We invited him in. We invited the photonic beings in. They were acting very squirrely for the bulk of their conversation, and it turns out that they were really more focused on offloading a prisoner into our holodeck. They left rapidly, and then we had to deal with the interloper, who turns out was completely addicted to the Captain Proton hologram program that Janeway and, well, not Janeway, but I guess Harry, Kim, and Paris were into. And so he was the son of Chaotica, I think. Yes, son of Chaotica.
Yes.
And
Maximus.
He is Maximus. Yes, Maximus has effectively taken over or has infiltrated our ship's system. So he is loose on the ship within all the circuitry and the computers and all that stuff. And the three of us are on the holodeck, basically trying to do damage control at this point. And we had the bright idea, if I recall correctly, at the end of the last episode, to meet Maximus where he was, and to embrace the Captain Proton look and feel of things. And I believe Tennant was volunteered to be the sidekick. I don't remember Kim's character's name. We came up with it right at the very end of the last episode.
I think the sidekick. I did.
The sidekick
research.
is Buster Kincaid. Yeah.
Buster Kincaid,
That's
yeah.
Harry. That's Harry Kim. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, didn't we say you're going to be Captain Proton themselves?
Yeah, I remember
Maybe
being
because at that time we
adorned
couldn't
with the
remember
jacket.
Okay. So was Tenon going to be Captain Proton, and
Yeah.
Steve, you were going to be Kincaid?
I think we were just going to be generic dogs buddies because
I think you should be.
no
Buster
offense to Harry Kim, we
Buster.
couldn't remember who his character was.
This is our chance, though, to
Fair enough, that's
bring
true.
meaning to it.
And I think Maximus was very excited at the prospects of the amount of firepower he had at his disposal, and so this immediately became a big crisis, and we were hoping to figure out what to do about that. I feel like I missed something
We're in a
important.
swamp?
But,
Well, we did apparently accidentally kind of lose the EMH.
The doctor is.
We lost him
All signs doesn't look good, does it?
No,
But
we're gonna get a very stern conversation with Admiral Janeway in the future.
he's definitely guest starring for this episode rather than regular cast. And we've ended up in a swamp, and I believe someone's about to be attacked by a tentacle.
Yep, classic.
Just in case I've suddenly walked into Acton Cthulhu instead of Star Trek.
Well, so yes, you get inspiration for doing that recap. Well done on that one. And yes, you are in the swamp. There was this movement of this weird tentacular type of creature off in the distance in this very murky kind of knee-deep swamp. When you heard coming from a ruined rumble-down shack, someone saying, "Psst, psst, over here." And that is where the three of you find yourselves. There is that eerie movement of something under the water that is slowly making its way over towards you, and the shack is behind you.
Oh, did anyone else hear that? I think we should go towards the voice.
I think we should go check it out.
Can we see who this voice was, or is it hidden out of sight?
It came from through the doorway of the shack, which everything is fairly dark and badly lit, so you couldn't see now.
No, okay. Well, I don't need to be told to get away from that tentacle twice, so let's go.
Yeah.
All
right.
Go and investigate it.
You wade your way through the water, and underfoot, the holodeck is doing a really good job of simulating mud, because you can actually feel it squelching underneath your boots.
Great.
And when you get to the little island that this swamp shack is on, you can see what looks to be an awfully badly made lizard man. You can literally see the stitches and the neck piece sticking out from underneath this really bad sort of almost ghillie suit type of thing, standing in the doorway, and it's gesturing with three very obvious fingers that are shoved inside a glove type of thing that you should come over into the hut.
Is it like green or something, or?
Well, remember, the holodeck's all in black and white at the moment, so it's just a sort of dark shade of grey.
Yeah. Okay. It's okay.
Am I getting any sort of telepathic reading from this
Absolutely
lizard?
nothing.
Absolutely nothing. So probably photonic, which I will whisper to my crewmates. I'm not getting any telepathic reading from this, so they must be photonic, part of the holodeck program.
Part of the program, maybe. Okay. Oh, and that would make sense, because if this is a replica of the whole Chaotica setup, this is probably like low budget costumes and set pieces and stuff. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, check it out, and we'll slink on over there. We're all in Captain Proton appropriate clothing too, as well, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. I like to think I'm wearing a proper science jacket, like what they're called. You know, like a lab coat. Yeah, with like some goggles on my head.
You did say that your ties were all still appropriately coloured to your departments, which was quite nice.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Nice.
Yeah,
As you
let's
step
get in.
inside the shack, the lizard man thing very dramatically closes the door, and it sort of looks over at you, and the head moves slightly slower than the actual head underneath, because obviously this doesn't fit very well. And it reaches up and it rips its own head off.
Okay.
To reveal underneath a very, very flustered looking doctor. It is the EMH.
Doctor!
Well, at least someone's glad to see me. Now, we don't have a lot of time. When I saw Maximus, I knew that I was going to be in trouble. He's the son of Chaotica. I don't know if you read all of Janeway's notes, or Paris's notes, not that he made very many.
Look expectantly at Tennant here, who's done the homework, and the
Big
rest
grin,
of us
big grin, because, you know, teacher's pet is about to get a pat on the head. So.
But anyway, I've managed to save myself through some rather brilliant engineering courses that Balana Torres gave me and that I naturally improved upon. I'm hiding in the transporter buffer. So don't use the transporters, whatever you do, because otherwise you'll delete my program. I needed somewhere big enough that could store all of my coding, and the transport buffer was the next best thing. It seems, and then he sort of lowers everything into a whisper, that Maximus is trying to learn how to operate the ship, but in the only way that he knows how, which is through the Captain Proton kind of program. Whatever you do, don't teach him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
I don't know how we would be teaching him using the Captain Proton adventures, but that, I mean, the ship, Captain Proton's rocket ship, is nothing like the spec of the Norwalk.
All I know is that he's skulking around inside of the systems. He seems to be randomly trying out different things, as if he doesn't know what exactly they do. All I'm saying is don't teach him. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go and moan. And he puts his head back on again, kind of looks at you with these two goggle-eyed type of things. Remember, don't teach him anything. He then pushes the door open and wanders out into the swamp moaning.
I never had
The
him down
door.
as a lizard man. No.
The door closes.
I wish we could record that so we could use that as leverage someday. If we need it. Oh well. All right. So okay, team. How do we stop Maximus without using any of the systems? Because if we use any of our systems, it's going to that's an opportunity for Maximus to learn how to actually use them.
So if I make a suggestion, sir, I think perhaps we have to distract Maximus by pretending that all these chapters of Captain Proton's adventures are real, and then perhaps while we're distracting him, you could use your engineering expertise to figure out a way to contain him or eject him, something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with this chapter. I don't remember there being a swamp adventure. Most of them took place on the Mines of Mercury or the Fortress of Doom, and they all had very similar looking sets, like dusty caverns and deserts and stuff like that. I've never seen a swamp adventure before. That seems remarkably high budget. So I can't remember exactly. I don't remember any in my research. I don't remember any information about a swamp. What's expected in the swamp chapter.
Go ahead and give me an insight and, let's say, command check.
Ooh. So that's an 8 and a 2, so that is 10.
The difficulty here is just 1.
I don't
We're
think I have
currently at
anything.
3 momentum.
3 momentum and...
Do we lose one because we've gone from a session to another session? Is that a thing?
You've gone from one scene to another scene. That's correct.
true.
So yes, you are correct actually.
Oh, so we're on
yes,
2.
I
you've
was
only got
wrong
2.
and right at the same time. Excellent.
So right.
So,
I don't think I have any focuses that can help. I'm just gonna roll, I think, because I feel like we need momentum for other stuff. So ooh, it's good. I rolled an 8 and a 7.
Brilliant. So you bagged 1 momentum. So now you're back to 3. There we go.
Huzzah!
hooray!
It all works out in the end.
Steve taketh. Game giveth.
So you are absolutely correct. The majority of the adventures took place on the Mines of Mercury and all those kinds of things that were reusable sets. However, your research did indicate that the show was so successful, the Captain Proton series, that there was a sequel that was made and that they had slightly bigger budget. And that allowed them to build 2 extra sets.
Wow.
Oh,
That's right.
That's lovely.
And you could be on one of the second sets.
amazing.
And if you are, then this is probably the Swamp of Death.
Oh, amazing. I love the naming conventions. Fits in. Nice, nice, nice. Yes, sorry, I just remembered in my research there was actually a season 2, and they got 2 whole extra sets in that. This would be the Swamp of Death.
Death.
Yes.
Yes.
Captain Proton fights the tentacled creature, sometimes known as the Death Squid, hence the Swamps of Death.
Right.
I love
Yeah.
this. So
Just
if
check
I'm
once again that the safeties are still on.
yeah, I'd like to know. I'd like
Yeah.
to confirm that, because as the person who's dressed as Captain Proton, I might have to go and fight a swamp squid, and I'm just an ensign.
So
I
as
don't
you are
have a
looking
lot of
around, as you're checking the safety protocols, you're trying to interface with the holodeck and that sort of thing, you absolutely can. The safety protocols are still on, so in theory you wouldn't take any real damage. But what that would mean for your current plan of distracting Maximus, you're not entirely sure how that'll sort of fit. The shack itself seems to have belonged to an old swamp mechanic, someone who repaired like those swamp skimmers, you know, those things with the big fans on the back of the boats. So there are bits of metal, there's bizarre sort of sci-fi props, coils of wire, looks like a colander with some nails glued onto it. Definitely a lot of vacuum tubes everywhere, because that's what science fiction needs. And yeah, just levers, buttons, all sorts of things inside this shack. And as you are taking note of these things, something moves outside and then rattles the door as it seems to be trying to get in. It doesn't sound like the doctor.
Quite squid-like, I would probably assume.
Does possibly sound like a death squid.
A death squid.
Door rattling.
I would like to take a look at all the gear and stuff that's in here, and is any of it hooked up? Like, is there machinery here that's like, plugged into a generator or something, or is it just like a big pile of random parts?
So far, it looks like a big pile of random parts. However, if you give me a reason plus engineering check, I will happily give you more information.
All right, happy to do that. So I will just roll. I'm not going to spend any momentum.
Well, you've probably got a focus here as well in reverse engineering that you could apply to this.
Yes, I'm happy to do that. So my target number is 16.
Great, difficulty of 2.
And I've got a 9 and 11, so that's 2 successes. Oh,
Perfect. That's
2 successes.
Yep, that's what you needed.
Excellent.
So, looking at all of these parts and things, you are fairly certain that you could quite easily construct almost anything that you needed. There's capacitors, there's resistors, there's just a whole bunch of bits and bobs. Nothing seems to have been constructed. However, you are also fairly certain that this random collection of pieces could also perhaps represent different ships' components. And so if you use them as you normally would, you might just be showing Maximus how to use those components that have an actual real world implication.
Right. So it's like, it's a shack, but it's also kind of like a vague layout of like another room, almost.
Yeah, and the pieces almost you could say, oh look, if you look at this resistance thing and this actually almost looks like an EPS conduit, and so if you use it to build a giant death ray, that would be showing Maximus, oh, that's how power distribution works throughout the ship.
Right.
If you use the inverter to refocus the beam, oh well, hang on a moment, that could be the magnetic constrictors on the warp. So it's different components seem to have the same value. So that's what you realize.
a conundrum.
Is there another door out of this shack, or is there us door squid? Is that the...
There is another broken door with a room beyond that.
Have a little peep.
You peep into the room beyond.
I'll have a peep.
There is an old ruined swamp boat, which has some interesting configuration of engine on the back. It looks as if it's been tinkered with quite severely, and there is a large red lever, or at least you think it would be red. It's just a very dark grey lever at the moment, attached to that. And then there's a double set of doors that lead out into the swamp, obviously. This chamber is half flooded, but you realize that that's designed to be that way, so the boat can literally float out. The boat could quite happily take 5 people. There is a mounting on the front, which looks as if you could attach something to the front of the boat, but there is nothing there at the moment.
Right.
You are aware, peeking through into this room, that the tentacles are now starting to wrap around the entire structure.
Okay. In that case, I'll lean back and I'll be say to Jax, if we're gonna go, we should go. Otherwise, I don't know. It just seems like we're getting a bit surrounded here, and we can't bung ourselves in the transporter buffer to get away.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, why don't you two gather up what gear you can, and I'll point over toward the pile of technology and vacuum tubes, etc. And I'll try to do a quick assessment of the most important bits there. You guys load up the boat. If you said it seats 5, then they can take the 3 of us and probably a bunch of the bits. And I'm going to take a look at the engine of the boat and just try to assess how to activate it, and B, is it functional?
So that doesn't even require a check. The boat is functional, although what the lever does, you're not entirely sure. It does seem to activate a gas canister of some kind that appears to be attached to the engine proper. It's an old combustion engine.
Oh, interesting.
In terms of how it operates, yeah.
Okay. Well, then while they're loading up the boat, I'll open the double doors. I guess I'll slosh into the water and go over there and push open the doors and hope that there aren't any tentacles out there.
Right. Absolutely. Unfortunately, there are tentacles outside.
No.
It's waiting. It's waiting. It's just waiting.
Because it's an exciting incident, and that's what's going to happen next.
No, it's absolutely waiting. So, in terms of the combat, we're going into a personal conflict, as they call it. In terms of the order of operations, you're pushing open the door as best you can. The Death Squid is going to go first, simply because it's sort of waiting for any movement to happen outside of the ship. And so its minor action is going to... it already has been. It's been preparing. It's been waiting for something to come through. And its major action is then going to just be a straight-up attack.
Okay.
And it's a melee attack. And so this is opposed because you are aware that the squid is out there, Jack. So I wouldn't say that you're unaware that the squid is out there. So it's an opposed, and it's daring and security, if you please.
All right.
And
that's target number of 8, 9, 10, 11.
Nice.
2 dice. I have no focuses that are going to help me here. I've got 1 success.
1 success. All right. Its daring and security is not spending any. Oh, that's a success. Oh, 1 success as well. So this tentacle tries to wrap around you, but you fend it off in a dramatic maneuver, I guess. How do you discard this tentacle which tries to wrap around you?
I probably got. I'm probably wearing like period appropriate coveralls with assorted tools and stuff. So I'll grab a wrench out of my my bib overalls and just kind of like push the tentacle away with the wrench.
Nice.
And shake the goop in the swamp water off of it.
Absolutely. The doors are open. Tenon, well, the initiative now drops to you guys. The squid is not going to spend threat to keep it. So you can load the boat, start the boat. or make an attack, or well, that's pretty much up to you.
Can I try to start the boat, please?
Mm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's start the boat. Yeah.
So you know that it's functional, but just how do you drive a 1930s science fiction swamp boat? That's the question on your mind. I'm going to need you to give me an insight and con check, if you please.
So insight is 8, con is 3.
And this is a 0 difficulty check.
Oh, okay. I don't have any focuses. So 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm just gonna. Actually, we've got 3 momentum as well. Would you boys be okay if I used a momentum?
Momentum
so-
way.
Cool. I will do. So I've got. Oh God, an 11 and a 15, and a 4. A 4. So.
Okay, so that would be 1 momentum back.
Oh well.
Well done.
Back to 3.
All right. From 3 to 3, I think that's your stabilized number there. Okay. You sort of drop into the pilot's seat, which is very uncomfortable. It's just a metal seat itself, and you kick this thing into operation. The giant fan starts to spin around and around, and ominously, it doesn't have a protective cage over it. It's almost as if it was designed for someone to be dangled right in front of it in a dramatic battle. Nonetheless, it starts up and the engine purrs and the whole boat seems as if it's ready to go. The squid is now going to attack, unless you are going to hold the initiative.
No, I will let it happen.
The squid is attacking the shed. And this time, it actually gets 3 successes.
Oh.
So as you are sort of moving away from the doors, you've got the engine started up. The squid just bashes down the side of the housing that you are in. And unfortunately, as it does so, bits of timber and moss and mud and splinters and things pepper all of you. And you all take 2 stress worth of damage, or at least is severity 2 damage. You can take it as stress if you like, or you can just become injured and not remove yourself from the scene.
I'm okay. I'll take the stress.
Oh, we'll take the stress.
Ouch! Ouch! Let's go.
Yeah.
Get on the boat.
Initiative's back to you, and I believe that would be you, Herman.
Yes. So, seeing as this boat started up, I was still loading. I feel like I'm probably worryingly close to this giant fan. We've probably got enough stuff. So, just I don't know, jump on it and just slap the side. Be like,
She's good.
"You good? Let's go."
Let's go.
Yeah, I don't want to be around here anymore. In my mind as well, the Death Squid, is it stop motion? I really want it to be stop motion.
Keep moving around.
And then when Jackson's fighting it, it's like just one of those rubber tentacles that is waving around.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Excellent. Love it.
Absolutely. You could take the major action of guard, which...
That's true,
if you're
because the back of
preparing.
the boat is about to become the bit nearest to the squid. So,
Yes.
guard. I will guard.
All right, so you need to give me an insight and security task check. This is a difficulty of 0.
Okay, insight and security. So I'm not necessarily super insightful or secure. So I'm looking for an 11 here, 9 plus 2. But we'll see what we can do.
Believe. Trust and believe.
What do I spend? Would you guys be okay if I took a momentum and gained an extra dice on this? Because
Yeah.
I don't want us to get like grabbed by it and not pulled back. So 3 dice. Okay. So there's good news and bad news. Good news is I got a crit, a 1.
Nice.
I got a 10, so that's 3 successes.
Yes.
And I got a 20.
A complication. Oh, lovely. Okay.
Oh,
As
Your
the dice
3
are bouncing, I thought, this would be... No, it was the worst time.
that's the full spectrum there.
I know.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Roller
Right, so,
coaster.
What was the difficulty?
0.
0. So you got
So-
3 momentum.
You've got 3
Really glad I
men.
spent the momentum on that extra dice that became a complication. I'm so
Complication.
glad I did that.
I think you can spend 2 momentum to cancel a complication. I think is that right, Jim?
Yes.
You can if
Should
you
we
want to.
Should we do that? This feels like a bad time.
Yeah, I mean, we got loads of momentum, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, if you
are
don't
we just
spend
finding
it-
a way to end back at 3 momentum here, aren't we?
Yeah,
Mm.
because if you
Yeah.
don't spend it, you end up on 5 momentum.
I think we got momentum to spend.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll spend
Yeah.
the 2 momentum to cancel the complication.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd rather have
Alright.
jam today than tentacle tomorrow.
That leaves you on 3. Okay.
3 again.
So as you're preparing for this next attack, Tenon kicks the boat forward, and it's got a lot of power. And so you stumble forward, Herman, and
Okay.
you grab the railing of the fan just in time to stop yourself from going into the swamp and being left behind.
That was worth it. Personally
was worth
speaking.
That was worth it, absolutely. The boat
Wow.
shoots out of the shack. The tentacle creature is completely taken by surprise, didn't know that this was going to happen. And so you sail forward into this misty, murky swamp.
Amazing. I hold on very tightly.
Yes, the wind is sort of whipping through your hair, except when you're delivering dialogue when there's suddenly no wind.
Yes.
Because
Very
they
white
didn't have
knuckles.
haven't the technology in those days. Where are you going? What are you doing?
Hopefully they come back for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did we leave?
I thought he was in the front of the boat. I thought...
No, I sloshed into the swamp to open the doors, and then I got attacked by the tentacle. I hadn't
Yeah.
gotten to it yet.
Oh well.
Come back!
Kip.
Do I have a ray gun? I'm assuming we have ray guns, right?
We're the worst.
Yeah, we're the worst. Oh
You could
god.
probably build a ray gun,
We should probably
Yeah.
turn
but
around.
that'll take you some time.
I
So
don't have time.
the boat-
I'll start sloshing in the swamp, going after the boat clumsily.
Because the boat has shot out.
Mhm.
I will let you spend 2 momentum to keep the initiative,
Mhm.
and that will allow Jaxa to jump onto the boat. Or you can give me 2 threats.
Ooh.
One of each?
I'll go with
I
one
don't
of
know
each.
what that feels like bargaining. It's not really, is it?
Let's spend the 2 momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 momentum. All right, you're down to 1 momentum, and
Fine.
Jaxa just manages to launch onto the boat as you take off and sail out into the swamp.
Let's go!
That's close.
Just leave the commanding officer behind. It's fine.
Yeah.
Ugh.
All right, you are out of combat and sculling out over this swampy territory. You hear the voice of Maximus coming out over the intercom. I suppose it must be there. And
Disembodied voice.
he says to you, he says, "Fools, there is no way you can outrun my Death Squid. I will make sure that it destroys you unless you fight back." That's what he says to you.
Oh.
Uh,
mean- It's in the distance at this stage, isn't it? Or
It is, but if you
a
look
sense
back,
of butt.
yes, if you look back, you can see the trees, the very heavily moss-covered trees and things, are slowly wobbling as the squid seems to be moving over the land as best it can. You can't actually see the squid though; the budget wasn't there.
no. It's theater of the mind.
Yes.
We can't see the people behind the trees shaking
No.
the trees.
Exactly.
I love it.
What if we tried to fix something onto the front of the boat, and then we can ram the boat into the squid? Do we have
Not a
anything
bad
sharp?
idea, but we want to be careful that we don't do anything too obvious that will teach Maximus how to use any of our technology.
Hmm.
So I think we may need to rely on what we have in front of us.
So we can't go building phasers or anything like that, but we can maybe just, is it pointy sticks time? Are we talking here or?
It feels like it's pointy sticks time, sir. I don't know what a pointy stick would represent in terms of Starfleet technology. A scoop? A ram? In the things that we gathered up, was there anything that would act as kind of like a blunt weapon?
All of the various bits and pieces, you could quite easily cobble together some kind of metal ram or spike. Not a problem at all.
If we have a spike, I would like to scan the swamp as best I can in black and white, which may make it hard to identify things. I am looking for anything it's time to deploy space botany skills. I'm looking for anything that is poisonous that we could apply to this this spike.
Right.
And therefore hopefully take out the Death Squid.
Love it. And so, as you are scanning around, looking for anything that will stick out in this black and white world, something that was very, very important for production design was to make sure that things that needed to stick out really did stick out. And so they had to choose very contrasting colors. And so as a result, I need you to please give me, and as a matter of fact, this could be all three of you can make this roll, if you want to. Complications, though, will apply. However, if you give me a daring plus medicine check.
Yeah, no. No, I'm not helping with that. I have 1 medicine and 8 daring, so.
Daring medicine, what are we attempting to figure out?
We're trying to look for plants that Herman can use.
Oh, okay.
Something of interest.
So what I'm going to say is as well, because I have the focus of botany.
Yes.
I can. My critical threshold for this is twice the relevant department. So my critical threshold for this is 6,
Good
not
heavens.
3.
Very nice.
Which is dedicated focus botany.
Love it.
So I should be okay with just 2, but I don't know if.
Yes. The difficulty of trying to find this plant while speeding through the water it's not overly difficult. It is a difficulty of 2.
Right.
Can I assist?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
That-
I'll assist.
That gives me another dice, does it?
I'll roll a d20 against my daring and medicine.
Oh,
Correct.
yes, that's it. Yes.
And
Okay.
As long as you have it, if I succeed, you need to have at least 1 success to make it worth anything.
Okay. Sure.
But I rolled a 15, so I'm no help. I
Okay.
got swamp water in my face. Ah!
Thanks for your encouragement, nonetheless, Lieutenant Commander. Here we go then. I have a 6
That's
and a
2 successes.
16, so I've got 2 successes.
Exactly what you needed.
Huh.
As you are desperately looking around, you do see a rather beautiful collection of white flowers, large blossoms,
Mm-hmm.
and they've got these large black dots on them. And they're a hybrid type of orchid that the roots of contain a very powerful poison.
Okay.
There is
I
a small
instantly
challenge with the orchids.
Oh, maybe I don't.
The roots are quite extensive, and
Okay.
the poison delivery is contact. So you have to make sure, if you are trying to harvest these things, that you don't come into contact with the actual roots. Gloves would be absolutely fine. But the roots tend to sort of float in the water, and so it can be a little bit tricky to get there without necessarily
Okay.
touching them.
So it's kind of like almost like a jellyfish, like with these
Yes,
these
almost.
tentacles, and those roots up. Could we therefore entice the squid into it? And if it then came into it, would it come into contact with them, or does it need a stage of preparation or something in between?
Well, your initial idea of taking the root and then crushing it down and then coating it onto the barb would probably be the best delivery method.
Okay.
because most animals, if they are from the environment, would know, hang on a moment, I need to avoid that space.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so I call out where we need to go to Tenon, and as we're pulling up, I'm like, don't touch the roots, but this is poisonous. We can don't touch them. Very bad.
No touching.
No touching.
Who is constructing the barb?
I can give it a shot. If Lieutenant Commander instructs me to, I am an ensign. I follow my leaders.
Yeah, I think if our good botanist can give us some direction on what specifically he's envisioning, we can attempt to craft it.
So yeah, I think if we have a spike, like a good old fashioned wooden spear or a bit of metal, and we just want to we're gonna grind up these roots into a paste and on there, and someone will have to heroically hold it. Probably Captain Proton, because this is their TV show.
I knew you'd say that. But no, this is fine. This is what I signed up for. I can do it, sir.
All right. So we'll work together to craft a spear, and then apply this out.
Is it am I allowed to harvest this without any risk, or am I going to have to give you a roll to make sure I don't?
No, you are a
lose myself?
botanist. You know exactly what you're doing here. This is
You-
your space,
Your time to
especially
shine,
because you have
baby.
that dedicated focus in terms of botany
Cool,
as well. Yeah, you can absolutely go through that. Not a problem whatsoever.
Magic.
You harvest several of these very slimy kind of roots, and you're going to start breaking them down. Now, the team, you realize that the squid, and Jack, so this is because you actually hit it with your wrench, it does have quite a thick skin. So the idea of a handheld spear, Tenon is very, very plucky. But when you look at Tenon does not strike you as the sort who has spent very much time in the gym.
Welcome to the gun show.
Yeah, I think Derringer
all
might be the
mine.
gun that Tenon would be wielding. If we
Thinking of the thick skin that the tentacles made of, are there any gizmos or things in the pile of machinery that we were able to bring with us that I could fashion some sort of like a spring-loaded spear chucker kind of thing?
Oh, that's a good idea. And Tenon, you're going to assist on that. Is that correct? You said you were going to help your commanding officer. Okay, so that means you've got your goopy poison, probably holding it in the colander, I would imagine. And your boat has come to a stop. Now, to fashion this harpoon-like device that you're trying to make is going to take you a bit of time. Are the two of you going to make that, and then Herman, what are you going to be doing whilst that's happening?
I guess we'll have to swap the driver's seat, and I'll try and keep us away from the squid to give my crewmates time to work.
All right, perfect. I like that. Okay, so this harpoon construction of yours is just it's a couple of stages. And you need to make sure each stage works successfully in order for the whole thing to work. So, Tenon, you are assisting whilst this is going on. And I'm going to rope in Herman as well, because you're piloting the boat. But this thing is designed to go over sandbars and things, but it does with quite a considerable bump when it does that sort of thing. And it also can quite easily do 90-degree turns because of the way that it was designed. So you need to not do that, because you've got two engineers trying to build something. So it's about trying to keep the boat, as calm and as collected.
Not slow. Okay.
All right.
So
this is a mini extended task.
Okay.
To a degree. And so the very first check that we are going to need to get through is a control plus engineering check.
Okay. And
Difficulty is 2.
in the back of my mind, knowing that we're trying not to teach Maximus anything about our technology, given the components I have available, I'm trying to make this as low tech as possible, right? Like, I mean, really, literally, spring, trigger and locking plate, just trying to make it really, really low tech so that we're not giving away too much of our technological know-how here. So just in the back of my mind, that's what I'm using. I've also got a talent in the nick of time that's going to help me with this extended task. But you said it's going to be control plus engineering, so that's a difficulty 15. I see we only have one momentum, so I think what's the difficulty on this?
The difficulty is 2.
Difficulty is 2. Y'all okay if I spend that momentum to try to give us a little bit of a boost here? All right, so I'm going to spend that momentum point. And let's see what we've got here. Would the reverse engineering focus be useful here? I'm not really reverse engineering anything, I guess.
Yeah, so, you're literally coming up with something.
Okay.
It's just engineering.
Yeah.
All right, I've got a 13, a 15, and an 18, so that's 2 successes.
2 successes, which is exactly what you needed. And
Exactly.
your engineering is 5, is that correct?
That is, yes.
Wow.
Fantastic. Okay, so...
because I succeeded at an engineering task as part of an extended task, increased my impact by 1. So I actually did 6 impact instead of 5.
Fantastic. And then there is the resistance, which reduces that down. Okay, so you are starting to make some progress. You're starting to make some really, really, really good progress.
Right,
next up,
here, do this.
I like that. Tenon,
Hello.
you are assisting the commander as best as you possibly can on this, and there is something that keeps coming back into your thoughts with regards to this vehicle. You've done quite a lot of piloting in your time, to a degree, and there is that weird gas cylinder that's attached to the engine, and it's compressed something, and you think that might be quite useful in building this harpoon-like structure. And so that's kind of caught your attention in a way. And I would like you to give me a reason and engineering check.
Oh, reason is 10, engineering is 4, so that's 14. I don't think there's any talents I can use.
You could apply focus of shipboard tactical systems.
Yeah, okay. Can you remind me what applying a focus would do again? Is that another dice for me
That
to
just
roll?
increases your success range. In your case, to 4. 1, 2, 3, or 4 would be a critical success.
Okay, so let's roll. We don't have any. We're out of momentum, aren't we?
Yep.
Yeah, I think.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I will roll. I've got a no. I've got a 4, and I've got a 19.
So the 4 is great because that counts as 2 successes, which is what you need.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the 19 doesn't contribute, and so yes, your impact, the amount that you reduce the extended task by, is 4, and then the resistance knocks it down. So you are making progress. You realize that this gas cylinder could certainly be applied to the whole thing. Now, this will make it very effective, but it could also be construed as helping with the shipboard tactical systems.
Yeah.
So you have a choice. Do you want to add it in, which will make it easier to use the weapon, but then potentially teach Maximus something? Or not?
I would pose the question to my lieutenant commander, and it's possible. It's possible that this canister could teach them about shipboard tactics, but I feel like it might be worth it because at least we're not getting eaten by squid. I defer to your greater command.
So it's specifically like a targeting system that you're creating to help make it more.
So it's not a targeting system; it's a propellant. So the harpoon will sort of have double the range type of thing.
Jeez. Yeah, I think it's worth the risk. Let's add it in. That being said, I think we're only going to get one shot at this, right? We only have enough poison for one shot. Okay. So we have to make it count.
You do indeed. Which means that Herman, the pilot now, as you are sculling over this whole thing. I need you to give me an insight and con check, because this squid is quite clever.
Okay.
Insight and con.
Cleverer than me. And is there a difficulty to this?
A difficulty of 2 for this extended task.
I'm so glad I have an insight of 9 and a con of 3, meaning this is only a 12. How about the value? I'm a survivor. I'm not going to get caught by this squid.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
That lets you spend a determination. Are you going to do that?
Yes.
So you set one of your d20s to a 20?
Yeah.
To a 1, sorry.
1.
Other way.
Yeah. Not like that other game. And I have rolled a 10. So that is a success.
So that's 3 successes.
So yeah,
so you
that's
actually
under
get
12.
1 momentum back. Good job.
Back to 1 in the bank, guys.
Hooray!
All right. And so your department is 3. Wow. Okay. So in trying to avoid being trapped by this squid, you feel like you've helped, but not by much.
Oh.
This takes us back to the top of the round as we're trying to work through this whole process. Now, you've got this gas propellant system. Any one of you now can tell me how exactly or what exactly you would like to do to make this thing hold the poison, because you wanted to initially just coat it.
Yeah, but if it's going quite fast,
there is a risk that perhaps it might not stick necessarily. You want to give it as much of an injection as possible.
Slight thing I've just worriedly thought about. This compressed air canister that we've removed.
Yes.
Is the boat going slower now? Perhaps, like to stop or something. We haven't just taken something really.
Ensign!
No.
Luckily, that was an additional add to the engine, and Tenon would have. Well, Tenon suspects that if you had pulled the lever, you would have injected that gas into the engine, almost like a nitrous boost, and you would have gone double the speed.
Inject, you say?
Well, it is compressed gas.
Yes, but aren't we working out how we want to get this poison in? So, is there something there that we could do? Can we use this mechanism to turn our giant spear into something a bit more syringey?
I like your thinking. A bit more syringey, he says. So go ahead.
It's not, Doctor.
Well, give me a reason and medicine check.
Oh, okay. Reason 11, medicine of 3, and no, it's not engineering or science. So I have got I've got a critical success and an 11. So that's 3 successes.
Lovely. Now,
I'm using up all my
spend-
crits forever now.
you can spend 2 momentum to increase your impact. And this is quite a difficult task that you are attempting to do here. I would advise that you possibly do that, because your medicine is only 3.
Yeah.
Load it up.
So we had 1, and have I just gathered up
You've just got another one.
another 1? So we're on 2 momentum.
Yes. And you'd have to spend 2 to increase your impact by 1.
Lieutenant Commander?
I say go for it. Every little bit will help on the extended task.
Let's do it then. Back down a big old round 0.
We're on 0 now.
It
Yep.
feels like something's changed. Something quite important has changed, as a matter of fact.
Oh, breakthrough.
You've had a breakthrough. That's right. You are convinced that you are now on the right track, because you now have a propelled projectile that will inject this poison into the creature. The creature seems to be more aggressive in its hunting, however. And it is now desperately trying to lock on to you. And every now and again, you kind of catch this glimpse of this very stuttery tentacle just moving in the mist, and then swirls under the water, and things along those lines. So, Tenon, you are now going to have to, unfortunately, I don't know. Are you going to continue building this thing, or are you going to try and pilot this vessel as Hernan is working out how to make an injection system?
I think it's probably best maybe if I swap back to piloting the vessel.
Right.
Please, I didn't like driving at all.
So, you have a choice. This tentacled creature is definitely getting closer and closer and closer.
Mm-hmm.
You could either be quite daring about it and try and increase your range to long range, because at the moment you're at medium range, which is outside of its range of its tentacles. You could be quite daring about it. Or you could just try and control the situation, in which case you stay at the same range that you're currently at.
Okay, so I've got control 11 and daring 8, so I feel like control is perhaps the way to go, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just realised I gained us an extra momentum because I am a human and I have the species ability Faith of the Heart. So when I know we're all singing that in our head now.
Faith of the Heart. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for this gift.
Welcome. I give it to you freely. So that means that when I use one of my values to spend or gain determination, I may also add 1 momentum to the group pool. So actually, there's a bonus momentum there, which I forgot about. But I had to hum through the whole of the song to get to the bit where I realised.
Oh, goodness. All right. So you're going to try and control this thing. You're going to stay at medium range to the squid. And so that would be a control plus con check. Control
Okay,
plus con.
so that's 11 plus 3, so that's 14.
Yep.
No. Shipboard tactical systems? No. No, I don't think I have any focuses that can help, and I don't think I have any abilities that can help either. So, I mean, I do have technical expertise. Whenever Tenon attempts a task assisted by the ship's computers or sensors. No, I'm not using either of those, am I?
Not applicable here, I'm afraid.
Oh, let's just roll it.
Let's just roll with it. Okay.
Why am I like this? I rolled a 6 and an 18.
6 is good. The 6 is good.
18.
Not so good.
Yeah.
So because you had that breakthrough, you were a lot more confident that you guys had this. You really, really did have this, which was good. And for a moment, you think you've outwitted this stupid squid.
Stupid squid.
And ordinarily, you would have. But I'm going to spend some threat.
Oh no.
I'm just spending 2 threat, so that's fine.
What does that leave you on?
It leaves me on 1. Because you guys don't give me any threat because you're mean.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Or efficient.
Give us a chance.
Or efficient. Indeed.
Yeah.
So what that means is that the squid is now at close range.
Okay.
And it will get to make an attack. So every time you now fail, until you manage to increase your distance, the squid is going to hit the boat.
Okay.
So that means, Mr. Jaxa, as you are trying to finish up building this thing, you are trying to keep it as simple as possible, mechanically. And all of your training is on how to use computers and Starfleet protocol. It's all about following procedure. So what is your solution now? You've got the propellant, you've got the syringe, but what is the launch mechanism going to be? How are you going to actually send this thing out? Is it going to be good old-fashioned sort of a rocket-propelled launch straight forward? Are you going to build some kind of tube that you drop this thing into, like a mortar? What What is your approach, and how are you going to try and keep it as simple as possible?
Yeah, if I recall correctly, when you described the boat originally, you said that there might have been a mounting, like a mount or something on here that was designed. Yeah, like a tripod. So I'm going to take a look at that and see if we can fashion some sort of tube or cradle or something for the thing to sit onto that we can then use to point and shoot, basically.
Right. Well, that's a reason and engineering. Actually, you know what? It's not. That's a reason and security check, if you please.
Okay.
As you're trying to work out how to weaponize this thing.
Yeah, and I think I want to lean into my value. Nothing's perfect, but it can always be better. Knowing that this is not the ideal solution because it's not leaning into technology. I'm trying to make it simple. It's not perfect. It's not going to be pretty, but I can make it better than what it is right now. Like I'm making the best of what I can with the pieces I've got here. Since I have an extra piece, since I have an extra point of determination from the recap, I will spend that. So I'm going to set one of my two D20s to a 1.
Cool.
And then I'm going to roll. I'm going to give you 1 point of threat so that I can roll an extra dice.
Sounds good.
And then I'll roll the 2 dice. This is you said it's a reason plus security.
Correct.
And difficulty.
The difficulty is only 1.
Difficulty only 1. Okay, well I've already got 2 successes in the bank here, and I rolled a 3 and a 12. I don't have any focuses that are going to help me here, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 successes.
4 successes, fantastic. So 3 momentum in the bank.
We're up to
Excellent.
4 momentum.
And we're applying this to the extended task, right?
Correct.
So it's 3 for the department, and I'll spend 2 momentum to add another impact.
Fantastic.
So that brings us down to 1 momentum.
Very nice. But
And then minus
you are
whatever
now. Yes. And you've now got to a point where you suddenly realize, it's as if you've hit another milestone in your construction of this thing, because it's almost ready. Almost ready. The simplest way of delivering this poison is something that Tenon actually proposed right at the beginning. Turning it into just a ram. Because if you have to fire this thing, it's almost as if you're once again going back to using long-range attack phasers, proton torpedoes, that sort of thing. But if it's just a stick that you're ramming it with, and the gas is actually just forcing the poison into the creature, that's as simple as it can possibly be. On the other hand, that requires you to aim a boat at this creature rather than having the joy of range. So again, you're at this milestone of, do we give perhaps some education, or do we deny education?
Yeah,
I do like range.
I think we deny the education, and we either brace ourselves in the boat, or we just aim the boat at the squid, and at the last possible moments we all jump. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that case, then instead of fashioning a tripod-mounted shooter thing, I would want to set it up so that it's the thing is sticking out in front of the boat, and we're just using the tripod to brace it so that it doesn't just go break when it hits the squid. Then.
Perfect. And that is exactly what you managed to achieve.
Good idea, Ensign.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I think you guys have got this in the bag. However, things have definitely changed, because the squid is now within close range, and that poses a significant threat. Things have got a lot more difficult, because it now seems to be learning almost from your actions, and now you cannot tell where it is at all. It's gone quiet. Yes, it's possibly under the water, completely hidden, and that cheap fog sort of rolls over the surface of the water, obscuring it even more.
Right.
What is your plan to get this thing out of the water enough that you can then attack it? Any thoughts?
Well, if we are doing this in the style of Captain Proton, and I'm going to really regret the next words that come out of my mouth, but I would suggest that Captain Proton would wade in, making some wonderful speech about how great and majestic they are, and lure the creature out.
Okay, I like that. Who's going to drive the boat?
Lieutenant's still driving the boat.
I think I was driving it last.
I'm gonna stand
Oh,
by
I,
the boat.
I can take
Oh,
it. Yeah,
so-
I can take it back. We swap back and forth. Like,
Swap
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Swap again.
Apologies, I missed the swap.
no, that's cool.
Sorry?
Yeah, I can take that, sir. No problem.
Okay, and then Jackson, what do you think you're going to do to try and aid here? Because assumedly the squid is going to suddenly roar up and try and attack Captain Proton.
Mm-hmm.
You then engage the ship at maximum speed towards said squid.
Mm-hmm.
What's Jackson going to be doing in this entire affair?
I think Captain Proton should take a dramatic position on the bow of the ship, and I will stand behind Captain Proton, holding onto his belt to keep him from falling off this said ship, and effectively acting as his hype man. Going, yeah, what you said, yeah, go, Captain Proton, we got this.
So you are Buster Kincaid now.
I am a supernumerary. I am the plucky mechanic helping out, but also keeping Captain Proton from falling into the swamp.
Sweet.
I love it. All right, Captain Proton, you need to give me a presence plus command check. Unfortunately, it is not easy. It is a difficulty 3.
Okay, so I have presence 10 and command 2. Just scanning through anything.
You do have 1 point of momentum if you want to spend it.
I think I will spend that, yes.
Or as much threat as you like.
We are gonna have to start giving Guy threat at some
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
We've
yeah.
been very stingy, haven't we?
Maybe I'll give you a little point of threat.
Yes.
just the one.
Just a one.
So I've got 4 rolls now.
So 2 threat. Okay. We're giving you 2 threat, guy.
So
You're up to 4 now, guy.
Nice.
So with psychology, because I'm trying to get into the headspace of
Weird.
The squid.
the squid or Captain Proton, a vainglorious hero who's high on
Yes.
his own success.
Yes.
So yeah, could I? Beg
I'll
a
give you
little
psychology, not
Hell-
so much getting into the head of the squid, but sort of getting into the head space of
space?
the theatrics.
Playing the role of Captain
Yes.
Proton.
I like it. I like it. Go ahead and give me a roll, and then depending on the roll, you can give me a speech.
Okay, so I've got four rolls, haven't I? Yeah. So
Correct.
I've got I've got a 16 and a 2 to start with,
Right, so that's one
Um,
success.
That's cool.
a 9 and a 13.
2 successes.
I needed 3.
You needed 3.
I
what
needed
was your
3.
target?
12.
Could I have assisted maybe, like to keep her steady or to keep him
Well,
steady?
you said that you were the hype man.
Yeah, you did. This
Yeah.
is true.
So what is
So-
that? Maybe
Presence plus command.
presence command. So that's difficulty. A target number of 12. Let me see if I can help. I'll roll my 1d20. I rolled a 12. That's exactly 1 success.
So
Just
Captain
enough.
Proton, you were sort of getting there, and then the little hype man came in behind you.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give us your speech.
Maximus, son of Chaotica. It takes more than calamari to stop Captain Proton. I am the spaceman first class, protector of Earth, and scourge of intergalactic evil.
Protector of Earth.
Happy!
It's just about like,
I love it. I love it. All right, and so that leaves our dear, wonderful Lieutenant Hernan now to take charge here. On your
Okay.
extended task, and I'm going to tell you this because this is how close you are to it, is you only need to achieve, and you can do it, you need to have an impact of 3. And you are piloting this ship, because as Captain Proton finishes the speech, the squid bursts out of the water very dramatically and just starts charging towards the ship.
Okay. I mean,
So-
I'm just
Now-
thinking about how next week I'm going to spend all my time in the botany bay, the botany lab. I'm not coming out for anything. None of this nonsense. And
None of this ridiculousness.
None of this silliness.
You have two choices here. You could try and be a daring pilot, and that would, if you succeed, help your friends survive
No
a little
pressure.
bit more. Or you could be a controlled pilot and aim straight for the soft, fleshy bit of the squid just near its mouth. But that would possibly make it more difficult for your companions to survive.
When you say survive, Guy, I think
Well,
this is
you're
a
on a
very
ship.
important definition.
You're on a ship that
No,
has
no,
no
no.
railings whatsoever, and you're going to hurtle at about 30 miles an hour straight into the squid. Now, if you're doing it in a controlled way, you're literally just hitting that acceleration, going straight at it. So your chances of hitting it are possibly bigger. But you could be daring so that you come in straight at it. As you're about to hit, you sort of veer to the right side, giving folks an opportunity to leap off dramatically, which might help them increase their chance of survival.
Okay.
So it's either a
What-
daring plus con or a control plus con check.
Sorry, guys, it's control because I don't know. I feel like Herman is more. He's not really sort of very bells and whistles. I think probably in some level it probably wouldn't have occurred to him to be daring and flourishing. He's like, that's what Tenon is doing by being Captain Proton. You know, he's out there being like da da da, and Herman's like, I wish I was growing cucumbers under a heat lab right now.
Love
You know,
it.
it's not occurring to him to be flashy. I'm not gonna. I could use did the reading, but I don't think it'll only give me a boost of 1. So I need. What did you say? 3?
No. So
sorry,
you only have you only need to have an impact of 3, which your
right.
con luckily is 3.
Got you. Yes, it is.
So you've achieved that already, but you do need to actually get the successes.
I got it.
And there are 3 successes that you require. The difficulty is 3.
on my 2 dice. Well, have a threat,
I will
and
indeed.
I will spend a momentum as well, taking us to 0 momentum, I believe.
Oh, I think we had 0 already.
Puts
Or
that
did-
dice back.
Did we get one?
Uh,
Do you have
no,
a
it's
value?
fine.
Do you
I
have
may
a
have
value
wasted-
you can lean into?
I've got to get 3 successes, and I've got 3 dice at the moment.
Do you have a value you can lean into?
Oh, value. Yeah, sorry. I've got mental toughness, or I'm a survivor. Would be close.
Survivor feels right.
Sounds
Because
good.
you're on this
Survivor
boat
feels
too,
right.
buddy.
Yeah, I'll let you do that.
Determination, though.
Okay, so set one of your dice to a
I
1.
don't have any determination. I've already spent it all.
Oh no! I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I spent it earlier being a cool driver man, and now I'm less cool.
You could just give me a 2 threat and get another dice.
I think you better do that.
Yeah, sure.
That brings
Can
you
I
up to
use my focus of physics to correctly apply
I
the?
was thinking that, and I'm going to say yes.
So I will give you an extra 2 threat. So now I've got
Yeah.
4 dice,
Yes.
and my this I'm looking for 3s and under for a crit range.
Yes. And 13 is your
Uh,
Right.
13, yes. Control
Yeah.
10, con 3. Here we go. Well, that is a crit success.
yes.
And a 10. And another 10.
4.
There we go.
Yay!
I want a 20.
You got a
And
20.
a 20.
Oh, perfect.
Oh boy. Okay, I love it.
I know.
So you bank 1 momentum because you only needed 3 and you've got 4.
Yep.
Cool.
You successfully complete the extended task, but you have a complication.
Yes.
All right. So
Sorry,
you
team.
hurtle this swamp boat straight at the squid, and it sails forward. And at the very last moment, supposedly everyone is meant to jump off. Supposedly.
Yeah.
Everyone is meant to jump off. And as you, Herman, are about to leap off, there is a thought that occurs to you. This is a combustion engine.
Oh.
And you are following the 1930s Hollywood tropes.
Yeah.
So as you launch yourself off of the boat, and I'm going to need all three of you to please give me a fitness plus security check, difficulty of 1.
Okay.
Oh, lordy.
I rolled a 4. So I got the success, but I also rolled a complication.
Okay. I'm going to make a complication list here.
So you can see-
That's 1. Tannen?
I got 2 14s.
Two
Fitness and security is 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, so 2 fails.
2
2
fails.
fails. Okay. And Hernan, as you're leaping from the boat?
My fitness is 10, my security is 2, so that's 12. I rolled a 14 and another 20.
You're playing the wrong game, son.
That's 3 complications for you, guy.
3 complications. Okay. I mean, I could
Do
just
I
take...
just evaporate at this stage?
You could turn all that into a threat if you wanted to.
I could. But I don't think I'm going to. I think the Hollywood prerogative is here. As the three of you leap from the swamp boat,
Or not.
it slams into the side of the Death Squid, and it injects the poison into the Death Squid. And the Death Squid dramatically flails about, grabs the swamp boat, and crushes it, causing it to explode in this huge explosion, which seems to go on for multiple seconds from all sorts of different angles. It just keeps blowing, and blowing, and blowing, and blowing, and fire rolls across the surface of the swamp.
Oh,
Everybody, and this will be, so that's the one complication, is that the swamp boat explodes.
Okay.
As it's exploding, though, it deals damage to everybody. Everyone takes 3 points of damage, severity 3 damage impact. So you can take that as stress if you like, but some of you are getting a bit low on stress, I think.
I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 left.
That's the first complication. Second complication is the squid has reached up so high into the air and it's flailing around that you can see that it's actually bashing against the edge of the holodeck, which shouldn't be happening. The holodeck is designed to be an infinite space, so the holograms shouldn't be able to touch the edges of the holodeck. But it seems to be bashing against them. And as it's doing that, your ship has taken a breach.
Oh.
The Norwalk itself has taken a breach. So would you go ahead, please, and just roll a d20 for me as I randomly look at the location table. So go ahead. Come again?
I was just say, go ahead, Kim. Roll D20 for us.
Oh God, really?
That's called delegation right there.
It's Captain Proton.
10.
10? All right. So, quite appropriately, as the squid is flailing about hitting the edges of the holodeck, your ship has taken a breach to its structure. So the Norwalk has taken 1 breach to its structure. You can have 4 breaches before your ship explodes, I believe. Yes. Which is quite interesting, because as the squid starts sinking below the waves, I'm going to turn that last complication just into 2 threats. So, we're threat is we're
Plentiful,
we're
bountiful.
threat rich, as they might say. Um,
I don't like it when my GM says that.
all right. So, as the squid is sinking beneath the waves, still on fire, the mist and fog seems to start to obscure the entire scene. And you hear a voice saying, "Fools! I know how my enemy think. I know. I will find out. But if you refuse to fight me, well, I will have to fight you," he says. And as that happens, the entire holodeck shifts, and you find yourselves inside a very small cylindrical-shaped tube which rocks violently as if it's under attack. You recognize this. You are actually on board Captain Proton's rocket ship.
Oh.
And it's as if you are under attack.
Ah.
However, there is something else going on. And for that, we suddenly pop out of the world of black and white, and we are now standing in the medical bay of the Norwalk. And we're back in color, as a matter of fact.
Hey.
You didn't have any momentum left, I think, as we shift scene.
We have 1 point.
You had 1 point.
Oh, shift
Go back
scene,
down to
yeah.
0.
Oh,
And
that's
you
right.
now find yourselves in the roles of the 3 supporting player characters, which we just conveniently happened to roll up before the game.
All right.
The situation is bad. It's very bad. You've been summoned to the medical bay. You are the highest ranking 3 ensigns currently on board the ship that are still conscious. The engineer's assistant,
That's
yes,
very bad.
the engineer's assistant, lieutenant, has unfortunately been knocked unconscious.
Okay.
The reason why you're in medical bay is A, to see this lieutenant who was providing assistance to JAXA in a few hours ago. However, there is also a problem. Transporters are offline. The ship is starting to suffer structural damage from within the holodeck. And whilst that force field is up around the holodeck, they can't get into it to make any kind of rescue or anything along those lines. But it is also becoming very, very apparent that the 3 crew, the most senior of the crew, that are on the holodeck, are starting to suffer real damage. Their vital signs are spiking all over the place. This is very, very problematic. And with the Commodore having left, it falls to these 3 young ensigns to try and see what they can do to salvage the situation. So, my 3 young ensigns, Ensign Kimball, Ensign Jimson, and Ensign Stevel, because originality.
Hey.
You are in the
Sticks over
holodeck. What are you trying to do?
Oh,
How
we're
are you
we're in
doing?
sick bay, right? Not
All right, you're in the sick bay.
Sick bay.
The holodeck is the problem.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. How do you get medical supplies into the holodeck?
So I'm guessing that presumably we need to be bringing this this force field. Who put that up? Can we not? We can't get through it. But can we bring it down? Would that be a problem?
I think Commander JAXA put it up as part of the protocol, and I think whatever's happening on the holodeck has to stay on the holodeck. If we take the force field down, I think we put the ship at greater risk, wouldn't we?
I don't know. I don't know what's in there. So I mean, it's.
Can we scan to see what's in there? I
we
know
all
that.
appear to be prepubescent.
Very-
Gee,
very
I don't know,
lower decks
boss.
moment.
It's gone very low next, isn't it? Sure.
Maybe at first we try to establish some kind of contact. Surely we can do some sort of scan that we can see what's actually happening in there.
That makes sense. I'll do that, and I turn to the nearest console and just like, trying to get readings on what, is the holodeck emitting any, obviously behind the force field, but is it emitting any radiation, or is there anything, an obvious sign of this is not going well, other than the fact that the people inside are getting beaten up?
Okay, I like that. That will require a control and engineering check, if you please.
Excellent. I'm going to switch to my red dice for Ensign Steve.
Fancy.
I know. All factory samples. Control of 10. Engineering, do you say?
Yes.
Oh, 1. My department is so low, it's not even worth me using my focus of radiation, because it's still a 1.
You know what? If you're just looking for emittive stuff, radiation, that kind of stuff, then I will say you can use science.
I'm going to stick to what I said. I don't want it to be too specific. I think I'd be looking quite broadly, because...
Okay. Then engineering is the way.
Engineering 1. So, control...
Difficulty of 1.
11. I have got a 16 and a 12, I'm afraid. Should have taken...
You have no idea what's going on inside. All you know is at the moment, the ship seems to be losing control of its systems. Currently, you still have control of environmental controls, life support, the shields, and the deflector array. But about 5 to 10 minutes ago, the ship's propulsion systems suddenly no longer are responding to any kind of control.
Okay.
And we recently took damage to our structure, right? Were we able to figure out like where did that damage come from? Like what do we do? What caused that?
You would need to run a scan on that one if you want to.
Sure, I'll do that.
Okay.
Reason science?
Reason and it's reason and engineering again, I'm afraid.
Engineering, okay. And is the ship any? No, I guess the ship's probably not any help because its systems have been compromised.
They have been, but no, you could use sensors. So the ship will assist with sensors.
Okay. And if one of you two could roll for the ship, I'll roll for myself. So
go for it, Kim.
I'm looking for an 11 here.
One d20.
I rolled a 2 and an 18, so I've got 1 success.
1 success. Okay.
I rolled an 8.
And what did you roll, Kim?
I rolled an 8.
And that's another success as you use sensors. Absolutely not a problem. So it appears that when the crew inside the holodeck suffered quite a lot of damage. Their heart rates went up. They seemed to be under extreme duress. The force field sent a feedback loop through the power system because it's all linked together. JAXA had sort of put everything together. He hadn't put everything in there, but almost everything in there. The force field sent a feedback loop through the ship's systems, and that blew out several EPS conduits along the length of the ship, causing the structural damage.
Got it.
Any more things like that happening in the holodeck, the whole thing is likely to actually blow out.
Ooh.
Okay.
So transporters are definitely out. Like, do we know that there is some? Because I mean, we wouldn't know that the doctor is in them. So what would we know if, like, because my instinct in the ensign is surely we can just teleport, medical supplies in there or get them out or something like that. So what would the teleporters be telling me?
Right. So firstly, the reason why you can't use the transporters is because there is a pattern in the transporters. There's a pattern in the buffers. And so either you need to reinitialize the pattern and get it out of the buffers, or purge the buffers, and that would kill whatever's in there.
I'm gonna purge the buffer. I'm not gonna purge the buffer. I'm not going to.
Didn't even hesitate there.
Yeah, this is annoying.
The other problem is the level 9 force field would prevent you from beaming anything in or out anyway.
Yeah, so I feel like
Would it not seem weird that there's something in the buffer?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But then also, I feel like I'm trying not to metagame it because obviously, like, if we're trying to get the Doctor out, like, Maximus
what would be
like,
what would we do in this kind of thing if we were like, there's this thing
Yeah.
and we're like, we want to use the transporters to try and get at least medical supplies in, but there's something there and we didn't put it there.
Yeah.
Correct.
Could we work out? Is there like a log of where that information came from?
Yes, absolutely. And that would be from the holodeck.
Okay.
Okay.
So can we access like the holodeck logs?
You
Or-
can
or-
absolutely access the holodeck logs, yes. And
Yeah,
you
and-
would have noticed that this thing transported itself from the holodeck into the transporter buffers. And whatever it is, reads as it almost reads as a life form. The amount of data that's in the holodeck, that is in the buffer, is huge. This is definitely a living, well, it's definitely a being that's got thoughts and memories and that sort of thing.
And would we have heard Maximus, like, or is Maximus just localized to the holodeck?
You haven't
like,
heard
so-
anything that Maximus has been saying to
So-
the folks inside the holodeck.
Okay, so we're not aware. So there's definitely something in the transporters, but I just feel like if let's think this through. Something strange happened in the holodeck. Lieutenant Commander Jaxa put up a level 9 force field. This thing appeared in the transporter buffer, and it's definitely a life form. So my question is, if we try and get it out, is that the thing that Lieutenant Jaxa was trying to contain within the holodeck? I don't know, or because we definitely
Makes
have
sense.
3. We have our ship's staff.
Yeah.
We have Jaxa, Tenon, and Hernan. They're definitely still in the holodeck. So it can't be any of them in there. So I don't know whether or not we get this thing out or we leave it in there.
We could. I'm on the. Ensign Stevel is on the medical track, so I suppose I might think, well, quarantine it. Could we beam it into quarantine and keep it like
in the medical bay? Sure.
in the medical bay, as in like, so it's not like, it's the closest thing. I'm trying not to use the word prison just in case,
Yeah.
but this is medical prison.
Absolutely.
Where,
Quarantine,
you-
not a problem.
We don't know what's going on here, so into the medical prison you go. That could be a thing.
Into a containment field or something. Yeah.
Hmm.
Before we do that, though, Ensign Jimson is on the science track and has a particular focus in optronics. Since we can't beam anything into the holodeck, do we have the means to hook into the holodeck's like imaging or camera systems, or can we see what's happening in the holodeck? Maybe.
You absolutely think you could.
Okay. Because I wonder, before we start messing with the pattern buffer, maybe we try to get a sense of like what's actually happening in there. We may not be able to influence it, but we could at least look, right? It's like
See,
turning on a
yeah.
television, basically. Is my thought.
I'm
Maybe
just
we
off to
try
one.
to-
I'm off to one side. I'm like, Jimson thinks he's so smart. Oh, the problem
I am
is sulk. Yeah, this is the problem.
All right. So that's pretty straightforward what you're trying to do. You don't have to make a roll for it. You bring up what is happening inside the holodeck. Because of the state of emergency that's currently in existence, you realize that you are violating several Starfleet protocols in terms of looking in on a holodeck that is technically being used by people, but you kind of feel that it's okay.
Everyone does it.
Everyone does it, yeah.
It's an
And-
emergency.
You can see this very black space with 2 very awful models of rocket ships that are clearly hanging on strings and being sort of moved around the space place with little firecrackers generating the smoke and steam to make it look like these ships have got propulsion. And one seems to be firing on the other. And as you're watching this, and you switch the view, and suddenly you are centered on Captain Proton and the plucky sidekick who looks very much like Jackson.
It's Ensign Tannen.
Yeah, exactly. Inside this rocket ship. Looking a little bit panicked, but definitely looking a bit worse for wear. There's some singeing. They look a bit damp as well, as they are standing inside the rocket ship. So that's what you see is happening. At exactly that moment, though, the ship that you're on, the Norwalk, goes to warp.
Oh,
What?
we shouldn't have done that. I didn't make that happen. That should not have
Yeah.
happened. Who's conscious to make that happen?
How did that happen?
There is definitely some crewmen on the bridge, but no one gave any kind of order for the ship to go to warp at all, because the only people capable of doing that are the three of you currently in the medical bay. You are all being commed at exactly the same time from the bridge.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello?
Sirs, this is crewman Daniels. The ship's just gone to warp, uncertainly.
Yes.
Any ideas why?
I thought one of you on the bridge would have sent it into warp. That's what.
Absolutely not, sir. We were given specific instructions to hold position exactly where we are.
Okay, we need to sort that out. Can I? So I have expertise in, I guess command and con. So and warp field dynamics and impulse engines.
I think you're thinking you're still tenant.
Yeah. No, it
You're
says on
Kimball.
my. It says on Kimball.
Oh, does it say on Kimball?
Yeah.
My apologies. Yes, navigation, impulse engine, and warp field dynamics. Yes.
You're getting another teacher's pet. This is so.
I don't know. Is it a teacher's pet when you correct the GM? I think you're kind of walking a fine line there.
dangerous.
You're walking a fine line. So much
Please,
threat.
don't punish me. But I think you've made a mistake.
Yeah, you did. You did. You definitely made it.
Can I go to a console
Yes.
and try and knock us out of warp, like sensibly, respectfully, not like just throw us out and we're just.
That warped off.
You can absolutely try, and that will require a control and a security check.
Control and security. Okay, that's a
There's a
10
reason
and
why
a
it's
2.
security, and we'll see if you can find out. Difficulty of 2.
Okay, so I've got a 10 and a 2, and then would impulse engines or warp field dynamics help with that as one of my focuses?
I'm going to say warp field dynamics.
Okay, cool. I got a 9 and a 5.
Brilliant. 2 successes, which is what you needed. So, what you've realized is that the ship has gone to warp because it was given an instruction to go to warp by somebody who obviously doesn't know the nuances of it, because your course is bound directly for Earth.
Oh.
Unfortunately, whoever set it up, you're only going at warp 2. So it's going to take you about 3 weeks to get there.
Rookie error.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The warp field is erratic. It's not going to be plain sailing at
Right.
all. You also kind of get the feeling that this person just sort of pointed at Earth and said, there. Because it doesn't look like the ship is actively looking for obstacles in its flight path.
Oh, that's a problem.
Yes. You also realize, because you had to use security, that you were not being locked out, but that someone had overridden all of the ship's security protocols to be able to take control of the heading.
Okay. Can I override that command and stop us heading to Earth? Yeah. Can I drop us out?
That's
of
what
warp,
you're going to be
basically?
trying to do.
Okay.
What is Jimson trying to do?
I would relay this to everyone else as well. I'd be like, ensigns, huddle, and then update them on everything that I've learned.
So you all fist bump together at the same time.
Huddle!
I am listening to all this, and I'm trying to think about how we could possibly do anything to help the 3 people in the holodeck, given the force field that's in our way. Because we can't beam stuff in, we can't get them out, we can't go in physically. So I guess I'm wondering, is there maybe a way to to influence the holodeck program itself so that we could generate stuff to help them.
Absolutely.
Create a hypospray to help them, because I guess we're watching on the camera that some of them are stressed out and not fatigued yet, but at least feeling the effects of being shaken and knocked about and stuff.
Absolutely. And the space battle they're in doesn't look like it's going in their favor either.
Yeah. Okay.
You could absolutely program in a medical kit. You could program in an entire doctor to suddenly appear on Captain Proton's ship. There is only one slight challenge. In order for any of the medicine that you would transfer into the holodeck to take effect, you would have to disengage the safeties.
The holodeck safeties.
Correct.
Okay.
I mean, if it kind of looks like they're being beaten up anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're working. It doesn't look like the safeties are working. They're. Look at that guy. He's got a bruise.
Yeah. But
and it's not a cosmetic one.
From our perspective,
bruise.
The holodeck safeties are still on, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
But remember, stress is not physical damage. Stress is psychological and emotional, as well as exertion. None of which is a safety protocol violation.
We could just send more medical supplies
But we
to
would have to
compensate?
to do that. We would have to turn off the holodeck protocols, right?
Correct.
Is there a chance we could turn them back on after we send the supply, after we reprogram the supplies, or is it?
In theory, yes, but that's not going to happen.
So the trick is, for example, a dermal regenerator. It would need to be a real dermal regenerator, so that it can suture back and stimulate skin cells to grow. So once they've used the medical stuff, then for sure you could certainly reactivate the safety protocols.
Well, what do you think, fellow officers? Is it worth the risk?
If we're gonna send stuff in, we still need to deal with whatever's in the buffer. We've got a blockage in the pipe.
And having that thing in the buffer is creating a problem for the ship, right? Because that's taking up a lot of memory, or
It prevents you from using transporters.
Prevents us from using the transporters. Yeah.
I reckon it's worth the risk, to be honest. Like, I think they definitely need some sort of supplies in there.
If it's important, we can always put whatever it is back in the transporter.
Yeah.
So is that your plan then?
I think so. I think we're gonna take whatever's in the transporter buffer, put it in medical quarantine.
Yes.
Safe jail.
Yes.
And then, in theory, we're then going to be able to use the transporter to send something in, like actual equipment that could help them in there.
Well, you still won't be able to use the transporter to do that because the force field's still in place.
Yeah.
Oh.
But you will be able to then use the transporters if you need them once you've cleared the buffer. At the same time, Jimson is going to be rewriting the program to add in medical supplies.
Right.
And Kimball is going to be trying to kick the ship out of warp.
Yeah. This being set after Voyager comes back, do all med bays have holographic emitters into it?
So the plan was for them to all have EMHs because they did prove useful, but not every single ship got given them. And the Norwalk I think we discovered earlier didn't have an EMH installed.
Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't mean that you don't have the emitters, you just don't have the software installed.
Okay. Yeah.
We haven't got time to update our drivers right now.
I'm probably just metagaming it though. I just metagamed it, didn't I? Yeah, because I was thinking like
I
because I know what's in there, but Kimson doesn't know what's in there. Kimball doesn't know what's in there.
I guess
so. Yeah.
I guess like the major problem is that the ship is going somewhere. All of a sudden, that's the big problem. Then it's getting the command crew out. Then it's dealing with what's in the mystery box of the buffer.
Yeah.
And if one of those needs to be solved, so let's get this let's get the Norwalk stopping. And we don't
I'm
want to go to
trying
Earth.
my best.
I
Like
know.
Kimball's just been furiously tapping at the console. Like I'm trying.
I'm trying.
We're
Okay.
like doing a lot of chin scratching, and you're actually working.
So, what you realize is that there is definitely a force, there is a presence within the computer system. And every time you try and access flight controls, it blocks you. But if you access some other system, it moves to try and block you there, and then it opens up the flight control system again. So, if you are clever, you can kind of make it look as if you're fiddling around with life support, and then quickly change the flight controls. But that does require you to be quite daring.
Okay.
So I'm
Okay.
going to need a daring plus security check, please.
Daring plus
From you.
security. So that's 9 plus 2, which is 11. We
And
don't
assist
have.
by like doing more, like on another console, just like changing something unimportant.
You
to
absolutely can.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that would also be a daring plus security check
Okay.
from you. I'm going to spend some threat, though, and I'm going to increase the complication range.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to
Thank you.
spend, is it 2 threat to increase the range by 1, Jim? I'm going to spend 4 threat. That puts me back down to 5.
Oh, you're feeling
Your
kind of spicy,
complication
aren't
range
you?
now is
18.
18, 19, or 20.
This is because I corrected you. I knew it.
No. No. It's because I have tons of threat.
you just so much.
You have
So,
so much threat, all the
burgeoning.
Yes. All right. Go ahead and give me a roll.
So, okay. Oh, I've got a 3 and an 8.
Brilliant. So that's 2 successes.
And I got 3 on my support roll, so that's another success.
That's 3 successes. Okay. Fantastic. You only needed 2, so that's 1 momentum in the bag.
Hooray.
So momentum's up by 1, which is very nice. And so, with some daring do, you've shunted this thing into, you said, a non-important system. What system?
Well, we all know what the most unimportant system is. It's the botanical bay.
The hot
No one
sauce
cares
bay.
about that.
Oh, wow.
No one cares about that.
Okay, so hydroponics,
Kenan told me how unimportant it
airponics.
was.
all of that whole environmental system.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unimportant.
All right.
Get rid of it.
Okay. Interesting and sad for Lieutenant Hernan. Why are all my plants dead? Well, not important.
It's evil.
So yes, you shunt that through, you get control, the ship drops back out of warp.
Amazing.
Mr. Jimson, what are you doing to the holodeck to give the crew medical support?
I'm attempting to reprogram it so that I can create a medical kit on the bridge of their little rocket ship.
Love it. In order for you to do that, I would ask you to please give me a reason or control, it's your choice, reason or control plus medicine check.
I will do reason plus medicine.
Okay.
What's our difficulty?
2.
How much? 2. Then if you all are okay with it, I'll spend that point of momentum and give myself an extra dice.
Yeah.
No problem? All right.
Do it.
9. My target number is 12. I've got a 7, a 12, and a complication. 2 successes and a complication.
Okay. I'm going to convert that complication straight into threat.
All right, so that gives you
And-
7.
I am going to turn that threat into a trait. So, the ship now gains the following trait.
Uh-oh.
The safety protocols are offline. You took them offline, and then you realize that in taking them offline, that entity that's floating around in the botany bay has suddenly learned how to take safety protocols offline.
Oops, we didn't know that. Oh,
Now,
Oops.
Drat.
Drat, he
This-
says.
At this rate, Herman won't get back to find the hydroponics is ruined because
No.
he'll be dead.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And so, do you initiate the hologram or the transporters?
Yes, because I think Ensign Jimson doesn't realize what just happened specifically to the overall storyline. So, in order to make this happen, we had to turn off the safety protocols. So, safety protocols are off. Dink. And then I reprogram it so that we send the medical kit into the ship.
Mm.
Absolutely. And so you beam the whatever is in the transporters into the quarantine on the med bay.
Yep.
And as has been established through some careful thinking, the holo emitters in the med bay kick in, and this form appears and says, "Please state the nature of the medical emergency." Wait, what am I doing here? You? No, put me back. Put me back straight away. And as the doctor is fuming, yes,
I have to ask: Is he in the lizard
Yeah.
costume?
I will gladly spend momentum to make him in the lizard costume.
he's still in the lizard costume. He hasn't
Excellent.
changed costume yet.
Ah! So we were all frightened. Wait a minute, what is that?
What?
We have an EMH.
This very emphatic, badly dressed lizard costume is flailing about.
EMH, apparently.
Yes, the Gorn EMH. I like that. Absolutely. However, as the EMH appears in the medical bay, a voice now sounds over the entire comm system of the ship. And the voice is, "So, you survived, you treacherous president. Well, now I know exactly where you are. And if you think you'll survive Maximus a second time, you are greatly mistaken." And with that, we will say goodbye to our wonderful heroes.
Oh. It's like
As you
ensigns. We do some
Delivered
stuff
the doctor
good.
to Maximus.
We screw up some other things.
All right.
You know, this is why communication is very important in a command.
Very
center.
important.
Very
Yeah.
important.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, folks, this has been us playing, and my name is Guy, and you can find me on the YouTube channel Off My Bridge, where I talk about all things Star Trek Adventures 2, and have a lot of fun. So come and meet me there. You can also find Jim at, and where?
You can find me anywhere online that Star Trek Adventures is talked about. I'm on the Modiphius Discord. That's probably the best single place to go. And I'll be happy to chat with you about anything Star Trek or Star Trek Adventures related.
Lovely. Him.
Hey, you can find me on High Rollers D&D. We stream every Sunday UK time, and I'm lurking on the internet under either at NanoSounds or at NanoKim. There'll be details somewhere floating around. And over to you, Steve.
I'm Steve. I'm Modiphius web video person. I don't know anymore. I'm traumatized. I'm traumatized from the amount of lizard outfits. Yeah, you can find me the monthly painting stream with Callum, where I learn how to paint. And otherwise, as Jim says, can be found on the Discord, which you can find at discord.gg/Modiphius if you're not already a member. Come along, say hi. It's cool.
Absolutely. And we'll be back next week as the adventure continues.
Concludes.
Bye.
Yeah, concludes. Yeah.
Bye.